Well, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Coffee Hour. This one's not going to take an hour. This is going to be a short one. So again, we want to make sure that we give you as much content as we can. And this is what we're going to be doing in 2022. We're going to have a lot of videos that are going to be an hour or less. And we're going to be focused on specific topics. And of course, this is what Coffee Hour is about. But if you want to watch any of our other videos, our Electrify, our Thursday night live stream that we do, exam prep stuff, go over to electricianlive.com. Because if you go there, you can see all the channels that are available to you. Even the potentially upcoming Kicking It with the King podcast will be there as well. So again, you can listen to the Let's Ask Paul. You can watch the videos from Master the NEC. You can watch the Electrify episodes. All those things are available over on electricianlive.com. So check that out. Okay, so we're going to look at a proposed change today that's coming in the 2023, kind of part of this next year. We're going to be giving you sneak peeks and explaining some of the changes. So the first one we're going to look at here is, or the one we're going to focus on today, is electrical safety driven. So this is identifying circuits and things like that in switchgear and panel boards and things like that, switchboards. So 408 or 408.4, I should say, dealing with the description requirements and what we have to do as far as identifying circuit breakers and things like that. So here you see that it's broken into an A and a B. So we're going to be looking at each one of them. Now you'll notice on the screen there's a lot of marked out language. This has to do with TerraView, and TerraView is showing you actually, and I could hide that. I'll give you an example of that. So if you ever want to work with TerraView and you want to see what the code is going to look like, you can click Hide Deletions. And this will let you see a clean version of what's going to be here. But I like to show you all of this information here previously has been strucken out. So if you've got your 408.4a, you'll see all this language about descriptions, and it's just a long running sentence and gave a bunch of information. Now it's been broken down. So let's kind of show you what it's going to look like for the 2023. Now remember, this is in TerraView and we just finished voting. So it may or may not be updated here. So as we go through the year, we'll get more understanding of finalization, and I will always keep you abreast of any changes that are significant. So this one has to do with taking all of that information. It was wrapped in one continuous paragraph and all this, and putting it in a list item format to make it a little easier to understand. Okay? So again, remember, this is identifying your circuit directory or circuit description at your panels, at your switchboard, switchgear, and all that type of thing. So let's dig into it. Now what we'll do is we'll go on and turn off all this deleted text and kind of look at what the code says for this specific section. It says every circuit and circuit modification shall be provided with a legible and permanent description that complies with all of the following conditions as applicable. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 conditions that we have to play. Now, the one key thing I'll tell you here, new circuits, or even if you're an electrician, you go in and you're modifying an existing circuit, upon modification, it is incumbent on you to make sure that it's legible and permanently a permanent description that does apply to the circuit that you're working with. You have to do it. So that's on you. Number 1, located at each switch or circuit breaker in a switchboard or switchgear. So we have to have what? It has to be legible and a permanent description at every switchboard and switchgear that describes the circuit that's being identified, okay? That's going out to wherever it's going, okay? So I have to locate it. Where do I have to have this legible and description at? Switches and circuit breakers and switchboards and switchgear, okay? Number 2, located in a circuit directory that is located on the face of, inside of, or in an approved location adjacent, that would be right beside it, to the panel door in the case of a panel board. So if we're going to identify the circuits, you know, all of our panels that come with a legend, sometimes the panels are smaller and it's on the front of it, right? Maybe like an 8-circuit panel. It's on the front, might not have a door. And then, of course, you have the panels that would have a door, and it could be where? And it could be on the front, or it could be just inside the door. It also could be at an approved location adjacent to the panel. Approved being approval for the AHJ, but adjacent means it's adjacent to the panel door. So it's either left or to the right, above it or below it. It's adjacent to it, okay? And so again, going to require these. Now, the next thing is really clear. And again, number 3, it says clear, evident, and specific to the purpose of use of each circuit, including spare positions with an unused overcurrent device. So if I have an unused overcurrent device in there just taking up a space, you still have to make it very clear that that is a spare. Otherwise, all of your other circuit breakers have to be very clear and evident what they're controlling, right? Now, you might already do this, but again, this is making it really easier to understand in the 2023 because it's putting it in a list format. The next one is item number 4. Item number 4 says, now check this out. It says described with a degree of detail and clarity that is unlikely to result in confusion between circuits. So you have to be very clear, and you have to give enough detail in the description so that somebody knows what exactly it is. It's not confusing. Example, you couldn't say bathroom outlets or receptacle outlets. If you happen to have more than one circuit for your bathroom receptacle outlets, that's your choice. Countertop, if you have kitchen countertop circuits, small appliance branch circuits, you can't just say small appliance branch circuits. You got to be very descriptive. It'd be countertop, small appliance branch circuits number 1, countertop, small appliance branch circuits number 2. However you describe it, you needs to be what? It has to have a degree of detail and clarity that it is unlikely that it will result in any confusion when somebody's looking at it versus another circuit in this panel. Okay. Next one, number 5, says not dependent on transient conditions of occupancy. So I don't want to go wire a house and put on it Jimmy's bedroom receptacles. It's not going to work. It's transient. Jimmy may not live there forever. Okay. He's going to move in and out. So with that scenario that would be something that is transient. Means that it's moving in and out. It's not fixed, but you can call it bedroom upstairs, south side, or whatever you want, but it's got to be very descriptive. It can't be something that is related to transient where you're putting somebody's name or whatnot because people come and go, right? The next one would be 6, clear and explaining abbreviations and symbols when used. So if people use abbreviations all the time, but if you're going to use this in your directory, you need to make sure that it is clear what it is. So again, I wouldn't use an abbreviation that is unclear, and then you would have to actually explain what it is. You would use a symbol that not everybody would know what it is. So you want to be very clear, and if there is any explanation, the description is going to explain what it is. If there is some type of symbol being used, you want to make sure that it's very clear that it explains what it is. So those are your directions when it comes to circuit directory and circuit descriptions. B now talks about the source of supply. Now this is dealing with other than 1 and 2 family dwellings here. So if you're dealing with 1 and 2 family dwellings, this isn't going to apply to you. This is applying to all switchboards, switchgears, and panel boards supplied by feeders in other than 1 and 2 family dwellings. Okay, so you have your main switchgear, which you have to identify everything evident anyway. That's your supply. That's the supply. But now we're talking about any feeders, okay, that are going out that are supplying other switchboards, switchgears, or even other panel boards. Then we have to make sure that what? As long as they're not 1 and 2 family, it says they shall be permanently marked in accordance with the following. Okay, so we're talking about where? At the switchboards, switchgear, and panel boards, okay, that are supplied by feeders. They have number 1, with the identification and physical location of where the power originates. Okay, so you're going to have to put on that switchboard, switchgear, or panel board that's being supplied by a feeder, you got to put where in the building it's being supplied from. Maybe it's main switchgear in room whatever, you're going to have to be very descriptive of where it is. That way somebody knows where to go. It's a safety thing. Number 2, with a label that is permanently affixed and of sufficient durability to withstand the environment that it's involved. So when you install it, if it happens to be the panels, the feeder panel, and it's in a location that is a wet location, for example, or even a damp location, you're going to have to make sure, obviously, the piece of equipment be rated for that location, but you're going to have to make sure that the labeling is permanently affixed and it's got the durability to withstand the environment that it's located in. Okay. That would go the same way if you had a panel board in a room with an elevated ambient temperature, making sure that you're not going to use something like a inkjet labels that when it gets real hot, the glue causes it to peel off and things like that. You know, it's got to be permanently affixed, but again, it's got to be durable enough to handle the environment to where it's being used. So common sense is going to play a long role here. Number 3, it says using a method that is not handwritten. Okay, so phenolic labels, you can have these nameplates made up, they're engraved, but it cannot be handwritten. So in order to comply with this, identifying what? Identifying the source of the power or the supply of power and where it's at, you can't just grab a Sharpie and do it. So it's going to mean that you're going to have to get labels made up, phenolic labels, things. Remember, they got to withstand the environment and all those type of things. So it's important that you understand that you just can't go grab a Sharpie and do that for this application. So that's kind of a look at the description requirements for 408.4 A and B. It's really not any dramatically different. Again, I will show you what it said prior to 2023 or what it would say right now inside of your code book right now in their 2020 edition. I will show you that here you see the same thing. It says it had to be legible and permanently described as a clear, evident, and specific purpose of use. The description shall include the approved degree of detail that allows for each circuit to be distinguished from others. Spare positions that contain unused overcurrent devices, basically they're just in there to take up a space, or switches shall be described accordingly. You let them know that they're spares and whatnot, so nobody's turning them on and off and not sure where they go. All of this is the same. The difference is now it's been broken into a list item and a little easier to understand. And of course, we're going to identify the source of supply with those feeders to any switchboard, switchgear, or panel boards other than 1 and 2 family dwellings have to meet 1, 2, and 3 here. And the labels that they put have to tell where the power originates, has to make sure it's rated for the environment to which it's placed. It's got to be permanently affixed, and it can't be handwritten. Okay? So anyway, there you go. There's kind of an overview of 408.4 A and B. The change that took place for the 2023, again, still a little early, might change, but I doubt this one will change because this just totally makes all the sense in the world. So hopefully you got something out of today's little lesson. Happy holidays, and we will see you in the next episode of Coffee Hour. Till then, take care.